So yeah, Chris, I think we're taking the opportunity because meeting almost after 30 years, and all those beautiful things which, I think my first few walks in the forest were with you. It was just, I think, wonderful to be doing all that. And after 30 years to have you at Vanghat and be able to spend a few days. So yeah, it'd be nice to hear from you about some of our initial accounts of, exploring on foot, finding big cats on foot, elephant on foot, and all
Sure,
that.
sure.
Hold it. I can hold it for you.
Yeah, I remember Sumantha very well, going back, how far now is it? About over 25 years.
Yeah. This was
At
in late
27
90s. Yeah.
years, yeah, a long time. And unfortunately, we went for many years after Sumantha left Camp Corbett. We had a gap of many years before we met up again, many, many years. But at last, I'm here at Vanghat. And I have very good memories of going for jungle walks in the forest of Kaladhungi with Sumantha. And in particular, one day we were bird watching high on a cliff overlooking Bow River and dense jungle. And I think we're hoping to see some large owls there or birds of prey. And Sumantha heard a very soft padding noise behind from the forest. And that was followed by just a stick snapping very gently. And I remember Sumantha prodded me in the ribs and said, "Look around very slowly." And I looked around, and there, sitting in the open, watching us bird watching, was a leopard, a female leopard. Yeah. Unfortunately, I tried to raise my camera to get a picture, and the leopard didn't like that. She obviously didn't want a picture taken, so she turned around and slowly went back inside the forest. But it was a most memorable encounter, and she was pretty close as well.
Very close, yeah.
Another time we were up the Bow River. We have so many adventures in the Bow River, which is an incredibly rich place for wildlife. Still is now.
Yeah.
And once we were in a swamp about 3 kilometers north of the camp, and there was a huge tusker elephant in there, very dark tusker, like he had a mud bath. And this tusker was pretty close. He was further back, but we could see him clearly, and he was coming towards us. And it was most exciting. I didn't know whether to walk away or stay there. And in the event, we stayed there, and I managed to get some video coverage. And he was a magnificent tusker with long tusks and good size, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
That was another memorable encounter. And we'd often go for walks in the morning and find the fresh pug marks of tiger in the sandy places of the Boar River, just like Jim Corbett did, 100 years ago. So, I have very warm, good memories of going for jungle walks with Sumantha.
Yeah, Chris, the other thing I think also is that there is a general perception now that, it's dangerous to walk in the forest and what have you, whereas you have spent, I was telling Arif this morning that you hold a national record. You've been coming to Kaladhungi for, I don't know, 40 years, and you have hardly done any jeep excursions, but mostly done on foot, in a rich forest like close to Kaladhungi, where Jim Corbett had most of his wildlife exploits in his initial years. But it's very important coming from you as to, today the world needs to understand the beauty of being able to walk in the forests and the privilege of walking in tiger country. And just your viewpoint when people talk about safety, when people talk about all that, what is your take on this? Because you'll be a great local insider expert for this subject. Now everybody thinks that safety jeep, but all this is barely like 4 decades old, so please.
Thank you for the very kind words, Sumantha. I'm certainly no Jim Corbett, so don't compare me there. But I would say I have been walking in, the Indian forest, mostly in the Command region, for 40 years. And I've encountered just about all of the big animals, the big predators, tiger, leopard, of course, elephant also, sloth bear, king cobra snake, and others. And in all that time, I've not received even a single scratch from any wild animal or bite of a snake. Nothing. And the only really bad incidents I had in the Kaladhungi forest was with poachers, when I was fired at on 2 separate occasions. So, I mean, I ask of you, which is a more civilized place, the city or the jungle? And I can only repeat what Jim Corbett said, and it's the jungle, where everything lives in its own harmony. Okay, predators will kill a deer, and a snake will kill a rat or another snake just for food. But that's as far as it goes, and there are no wars in the jungle. So I feel very privileged to have been able to walk in the Command Forest for so long, and there are not many places in the world where you're allowed to do that. And of course, the Forest Department, I think, is doing a good job on the whole, and they've never stopped me. So I would say get out there and try and enjoy the forest, and wherever you live, the conservation of biodiversity is the single most issue pressing our planet at every level. I mean, it's not just in India, but it's certainly in my country, UK, and all over Europe and America and everywhere. Conservation of biodiversity, number one issue facing the world. And the range of species and their numbers is declining virtually everywhere at an alarming rate, and continues. Although I'm glad to say here in India, you have very many conservation successes, especially tiger and rhinoceros as well, and elephant in most areas is doing okay. So keep up the good work.
Wonderful, Chris. Yeah. So that's about the Forest on Foot chapter, and it's great to have Chris, who's done it for, as I said, about 4 decades now, and it's just incredible because Vanghat is all about exploring forest on foot. It's a joy and a privilege that has to be experienced to be able to understand the joy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sumantha.
Thank you, Chris.